Welcome back to my testimony part 4. Today we're going to be talking about rediscovering my life after recovery, like what my passions are, my interests, finding my identity again. So let's go. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Olivia. I'm a born and raised Floridian that is coming on social media to talk about my recovery journey. I am 5 years clean from anything and everything you can think of. So this is part 4 of my testimony. And if you go to my other videos, you'll get more of an overlook of where I've come from and how I got to here now. Today we're going to be talking about how I have rebuilt my life after recovery, and I'm going to start with relationships. So first thing, when it came to relationships that helped majorly in the beginning was doing a 12-step program. Now, you don't necessarily have to do AA, NA, or CA. There is life recovery as well, which is more spiritual based and based around God, but it sticks to those 12 principles and 12 traditions. It's just not saying a higher power. It is legitimately saying God, like Jesus and God is our higher power. And I have done them all. I've done 12 steps of AA, I've done the NA, I've done CA, I've done life recovery. I've done it all. So my favorite was definitely life recovery, but that's just my personal experience. Now, if you do decide to do the 12 steps, it always helps to have a sponsor help guide you through. And when choosing a sponsor, you don't have to be super picky. What I definitely would look for, though, is somebody with a good amount of clean time. Look for those people in there that have been 20, 30 plus years sober. There will be people like that, and they just have a certain kind of knowledge that other people don't have. The old timers in recovery is where I really gained a lot of knowledge that I have clung to this whole time. Now, on the topic of relationships, I'm sure if you've been trying to get sober that your closest ones have heard the words "I'm sorry" probably countless times from you. So it doesn't necessarily hold that much weight in the beginning if you immediately just come to them and be like, "I'm sorry for everything I did." You know, sometimes our actions speak louder than words. So doing those things every day that can help propel you to be a better person will instantly show others that you're serious, will instantly show them that you are trying to really change. And then the "I'm sorry for the things that I've done," all of that will come with time. And especially if you do a 12-step program, they teach you how to let go of those things and how to rebuild your relationships a healthy way. So that's why I say the 12 steps are a great place to start. But there's so many countless ways that you can rebuild the relationships, but you have to start inward. You have to heal yourself, right? And lastly, when it came to rebuilding relationships for me, what I immediately had to start doing was setting boundaries with people as well. Telling them, you know, this is the new version of me. These are my boundaries. And I'm setting these boundaries for myself, not for them, but for myself. And you will notice that being honest with people goes a long way. Not putting on that facade like you got it all together or whatever, but just being honest with the ones that you can trust and the ones that you love about where you're at in your recovery journey. That will help strengthen your relationships immediately. All right, now when it comes to careers during recovery, I have done my fair share of them. I've done Instacart, I've been a butcher, I've done security management. I mean, there's just been countless things that I have tried out. But one thing that I have learned is that money does not equal happiness. For myself, finding something I was passionate about, trusting God in what He wanted me to do, letting Him lead the way for my career has brought me so much more happiness and joy than money ever could. And I truly believe that once I started asking God, you know, what do you want for me? What do you want me to do? Help lead the way, God, of my career choice. I don't want to just pick a job and be unsatisfied and unfulfilled. I want something that is going to fulfill me from the inside out to where others can see that I'm joyful and not depressed and just going through the motions. I need something that is going to bring me joy, hope, happiness, and I can see a future with me in. And God had spoken to me, and He was loud and clear saying, you know, have faith. Don't be in fear of money. Don't let money control your decisions, but follow me instead. And the money and the things will come after that. Just follow what I want you to do, Olivia. And I did that a year ago. And that's why I'm sitting in front of you here today, is because I followed what God wanted me to do. And I am so passionate and so happy that I started doing that. And it has helped me with every step of my life, making sure that I keep God at the center. Everything else has gotten better since then. All right, so now when it comes to my identity after recovery, it was really crazy what I noticed. I noticed that who I am now is almost an amplified version of who I was as a kid. Like all of my passions, all of my hopes, all of my dreams, they're still there. And I thought that they weren't. I thought that they all had like died with the old me, but it's not true. The longer that I'm sober, the more that I'm entering into God, the more that I'm noticing that a lot of things from me as a child, I still love and enjoy. I really do. I had a passion for God and for Christ at a young age. I got filled with the Holy Spirit and speaking in tongues at a very young age, laying hands over people, praying for people, falling out in the Holy Spirit, all of that. I had a calling on my life at a young age, and I believe that that never left me. I just let all the trauma and all the hurt and all the pain lead me to finding these addictions to stop feeling my emotions. But once I got sober and I was able to start feeling my emotions and working through the trauma, it's like all of these things started to come back to me from when I was a child, and I started to find my identity again. And it's just so wild that I really convinced myself that I had to be under the influence in order to be myself, in order to shine and be bold and to be happy and confident. And I had just lied to myself for so long and just said, I need a shot or two. I need drugs and substances in order to be uplifted and high. And it's like, no, I don't. I needed a clear, sober mind to be able to think clearly. And then naturally you start to feel better and become yourself and step into that new person. So if you're struggling trying to find your identity, try out these few things. Notice what energizes you. Pay attention to different activities or an environment or hobbies that make you feel alive or absorbed in the moment, because these things reflect your authentic interests and values. And then you can ask yourself, what do I believe in strongly? Or what behaviors in others do I admire or dislike? Because values are a major part of our identity. And then you can explore your strengths and your weaknesses. You can ask yourself, what am I good at naturally, or what do I struggle with? And you can even look at your patterns or your choices that you've made over time, because sometimes these can reveal who you truly are. And remember, identity is discovered, not declared. So try out new things, try out new hobbies, new environments, new people, and see what you like and what you dislike. And then lastly, if you understand your fears, you start to understand yourself. I'm telling you, embrace the change, because your identity is constantly shifting and changing. It's not something you just find once. It's something that you're continuously adding to and rediscovering. And that's what's so beautiful about finding your identity. So I just wanted to close with this, that for so long I was hiding in guilt and shame and just fear of the unknown. But once I just turned my life over to God, and I really tried every day to be a better version of myself, things started to happen naturally. God started working in wonderful ways. We can try to plan out our life all we want to, but God's plan is always bigger and better than ours. So when we put our trust and our faith in Him, and we just turn our will over to Him, and we say, God, all of this is too much for me to do on my own, please help me, He will. He's waiting for you to ask Him. So stop running, stop hiding. We are all individually created in His image. He already knew what we were going to do before we ever even did it. So you don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to run and hide. Ask Him for forgiveness and try to do better. And I promise you, things will start to turn around for you. You are not alone. And if you are still struggling to get sober, keep trying. It took me over 30 attempts to get sober. It's never too late. I promise you. Keep going. Keep trying. I love you guys, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's a beautiful sunset tonight. And if you guys are curious more about my addiction and the history of it, you can go ahead and go back to my testimony part 1. I really broke down the beginning of my recovery in that video. But all right, I will see you on the next video for part 5, when we are going to end this series and start a new series. Thank you for hanging out with me on my very first series as well. This has been fun, and I will see you on the next video. Have a good night. Peace out. Another beautiful sunset in Southwest Florida. You know it's Florida if you got the palm trees. All right, have a good night, guys. Peace.